There is a very common and very standard way to be able to overcome objections. Now, a lot of people don't like objections. Some people even get angry when they hear an objection. But an objection is a beautiful thing. It is the last piece of the puzzle. And when you click this puzzle into place, the pathway is open to easy persuasion and seduction. So first, here's the standard model of how to overcome objections. You pitch your idea. You talk about how good your idea is. You elicit criteria from the target, from the person you're trying to persuade. You show them how your idea is a perfect fit for what they want. And then you make the recommendation. You say, hey, I think you should buy this product. And they say, well, I'd like to, but, poof, there's the objection. Now, the first step is to appreciate the objection. Don't get upset about the objection. See the objection as a secret key to get them to do what you want. And so pace the objection. Make sure you understand the objection. Make sure you see all the details within the objection. Make sure you feel the customer is validated with the objection. Tell them that, hey, if I were in your shoes, I would probably feel the same way. I totally get where you're coming from. But then ask the question, just to make sure, if this objection wasn't there, do you think this would be a good idea? And they will almost always say, oh yeah, absolutely. If it wasn't for this pesky objection, I would totally do whatever you're recommending that I do. Then you take the objection, you take the linguistic structure of the objection and you reframe it, you make it disappear with some simple reframing techniques. And because they've committed to doing the thing, if the objection goes away, once the objection does go away, they will see a clear path to getting what they want because they need to act in congruence with what they've said they're going to do. This is because of the law of commitment and consistency. That's the standard way to be able to overcome objections. But there's a much better way, a much deeper way, a way to get the customer to overcome their own objections, but at the subconscious level before they even come up. So closing them will be very, very easy, very pleasant, a very good feeling for the customer. And it works like this. When you're still in the early stages of the conversation, when you're talking about what they want, when you're talking about what you have, you say something like this. Look, Mr. Customer, I don't know when or how you'll get this product. Maybe you'll buy it from me. Maybe you'll buy it from somebody else. Maybe you'll buy it today. Maybe you'll buy it next week. I don't know that. But I want to make sure you're going to make a good decision. Now, when you say that, you might buy it from me, you might buy it from somebody else, you're taking the pressure off of them. You're getting them to think in terms of not making a decision right now. A lot of customers, when they talk to salespeople, have kind of a subconscious fear, like when you get arrested by the police and the police say everything you say can and will be used against you. So you kind of have to be careful what you say. Customers kind of feel the same way. They're afraid their words are going to get twisted and used against them to force them into making a decision. Not a lot of people like salespeople because a lot of salespeople are very, very pushy. So when you say that part about maybe you'll buy it today, maybe you'll buy it next week, maybe you'll buy it from me, maybe you'll buy it from somebody else, that removes all that fear and lets them to freely imagine the product. So say that, maybe you'll buy it from me, maybe you'll buy it from somebody else, maybe you'll buy it today, maybe you'll buy it next week. But think about maybe a month or so in the future when you already have this, when you've already made the decision to get this thing, to appreciate that thing. What does that look like? How do you experience having that? How do you experience having that after you've gone through all the work to get the thing? Where all the finance questions are solved, where you've talked to whoever you need to talk to, and you're all together on board to get this thing, and you're fully enjoying it with all that stuff behind you, all the negative stuff behind you. How does that feel? How do you experience this? How do you appreciate this? And expand their mental map. Ask a whole bunch of either or questions. Do you use the product mostly in the morning or at nighttime? On the weekends or during the week? Mostly you or for the whole family? Whatever questions are appropriate for the product or service. And to get that mental map expanded as much as you can, then ask the how do you know question. Now, seeing as how this is a big decision, you don't get this kind of thing every day. How do you know that this is the right decision? And they'll give you some kind of an answer and ask a whole bunch of other either or questions. Is it an internal thing or an external thing? Is it a new feeling? Is it a familiar feeling or a completely new feeling? And expand their mental map of how do they know. And the more you expand their map of how do they know this is the right decision, the more they will be giving you reasons why they should buy this product. And when you build that up enough, all you'll need to say is, well, it looks like you know what you want. Let's get you started. And that will have a much higher closing success rate than the other version, the traditional model, the standard model. Now, for seduction scenarios, you use the same process, but you have to be much more subconscious, much more subtle, because it's not an overt discussion like a sales discussion is. It's much more emotionally based. So let's say you're talking to a girl in a bar and you'd like to get her number, you'd like to take her home with you. Before you even get close to asking for the number, say something like this. Look, you seem like a very, very fascinating person. You have a very interesting personality. I might never see you again after tonight. When you say that, I might not see you ever again after tonight, that takes away any kind of closing pressure. So she's free to imagine whatever she wants to imagine, whatever you can lead her to imagine. So you say, look, you seem like you have a very fascinating personality, and I might never see you again after tonight. So let me ask you this kind of weird question. It's kind of a mental experiment if you'd like to play along. She'll say yes. Imagine you meet somebody somewhere, and for whatever reasons are important to you, you kind of click with that person. You click with them enough so you feel comfortable giving that person your phone number. And you go through whatever process you feel you need to go through before you end up with that person. And everything feels right. Everything feels comfortable. You feel safe. You don't feel manipulated. Nobody's using anybody. And it's after the first time you get together with that person. And you think back on how you got together and everything went perfectly. How do you experience that emotionally? Is it a new emotion, or is it something you've experienced before? Is it something you can pinpoint? Or is it just kind of a general feeling? And expand that post-state where she has that good feeling that something wonderful just happened. And expand that as much as you can. Then, when you have expanded that as much as you can, ask the how do you know question. So as you experience this, after you've hooked up, after you've gotten together in a way that is perfect for you, how do you know that this is the right thing to do? And she'll come up with some kind of a maybe answer and help her with either or question. Is it something that's specific or something that's kind of a general? Is it something familiar or something that you've felt before? And expand that how do you know answer in her mind. And then do that enough. But instead of like the sales scenario where you actually physically or overtly close her, you just keep talking with the conversation and you talk about something else. You don't make any objective or overt connections between this experience and the closing experience. You just keep talking, and then later when you do ask for the number, when you do suggest going somewhere else, you'll have a much higher probability. So the process is very, very simple. Talk to somebody, either a customer or a love interest, a potential love interest, and get the closing energy out of the way. I might never see you again. Just leave that, let that go away. And then say, on the other side of meeting somebody fantastic, how does that feel? And expand that. And then ask the how do you know question. How do you know this is the right thing to do? And expand that as much as you can. And then just go on with the conversation. If it's a sales scenario, close them overtly. If it's a seduction scenario, just kind of keep talking. And when the time's right, get the number, do whatever. And you'll have a much higher success rate. This is a fantastic process to try this with your friends, just to play around with how you can use this time travel imagination scenario, this freedom from closing feeling time travel imagination scenario. Try this out, experiment with it. Let me know what you think in the comments. If you'd like to learn more about how you can use this technology to significantly improve your ability to seduce and persuade people, check out the links below. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.